heard they're bad for you anyways. Women. People who wear bras.
No, I'm talking. I don't know what an underwire is.
Oh, in the bra,
right
there's
here?
like an apparatus
Like
underneath the breast, so it helps to lift things up and keep things up.
Right.
But they're also metal, and it kind of hurts after a while, and it's kind of tight around your body and things like that.
I can see how it could be difficult. I don't think nobody should wear bras at all. But I'm
You know what I mean?
I'm disgusted.
They're very uncomfortable.
But I hear that a lot. Like, a lot of women are uncomfortable. But then again, a lot of women just can't walk around
without
it
happening, right? There's a lot of movement that can occur.
Right. You know, just.
And that movement makes people uncomfortable.
You know. Can. Anyway, I'm Chris.
I'm Dana.
And this is so.
We're going to have
Applause is going to be somewhere.
You say that every time.
Right there. I make that a catchphrase. Put that on the fucking t-shirt and sell it.
There's going to be applause.
You can hire a staff.
You and the staff.
Fucking Sebastian can come in and spray your hair down or whatever.
Why is his name Sebastian?
Because that's a dope fucking hairstylist name.
Okay.
Sebastian.
Okay. Sebastian sounds like he also has long hair. Probably dark hair, I think Sebastian has. He could have like a lighter hair. I don't know.
He sounds expensive already. Because that guy's telling he knows what he's doing. Like,
right.
Sebastian's probably $500.
He probably has his own products called Sebastian.
Right. So it's $700.
Does someone have that already? Is that a real
I don't
one?
know.
I don't know.
$700, $200 an hour.
Just for the hair.
Just for the hair point. Yeah, like, come on, bro. Here, I mean. Anyway.
I would really need a lot of trust. Like a $700 haircut. It's one thing to cut my hair. It's another thing to have me pay you that much money to cut my hair. Like, whoa, it better be every curl in perfect
Have you cut your hair before?
Oh, yeah, I cut my hair all the time.
Really?
I haven't cut my hair, though, in probably 8 months, which is a very long time for me. I usually go at least 6 months.
When you cut it, like, what do you...
A nice trim. I usually press my hair straight. And I like her to do, like, a nice, clean cut, literally.
You don't wear your hair like that often?
I very rarely. And that's probably why I haven't cut my hair, is because I rarely like to press my hair straight.
Guys are missing out. Sorry.
It's so long, though. My hair is, like, so long right now. It's really great. I'm very happy.
It's crazy. We have a jam-packed show for you this evening.
We do.
We have a jam-packed show for you this evening.
There's lots of things. Yep.
We have a docket.
We do. We've been trying to incorporate a docket these days so that we can hit certain topics.
Right.
We think of things throughout the week and we're like, hey, we could talk about that on the pod.
Mm-hmm. Most of the time we never do.
That's true too.
But we kind of we just brainstorm, we think about things, you know. The homie's having a baby. Shout out to my brother, Aaron. I don't know the significant other's name, but shout out to them too.
Wow.
But he's the first one of my friends in my friend group who's having a child.
Okay.
And that we're all like really like just super just into it, like, and I just wonder if it's gonna be like that for me too.
Sure.
I really hope
like
so.
Are you guys gonna be still excited when Chris finally gets around to having a baby?
Yeah, gets around to.
See how I worded that? I'm such an asshole. I'm a villain.
Like 16th on my to-do list.
Right.
Right after like go to the store and get like seasoning and shit.
Like I hope they still have some excitement when it comes time for me to have a baby.
Right. I'm 60.
I can't. Of course they're gonna be so excited for you still.
That's so selfish.
And your significant other, whoever their name is gonna be.
Whoever their name is gonna be. Right. But shout out to him though. You know, we're excited. I have no idea when the baby's gonna be born, but that's none of my business. But we're just happy.
We're just happy.
We're just happy. Just be happy for your friends. You gotta know they fucking business.
Having a baby is crazy because there's like having a baby, and then there's like having to raise it, and then there's like who is this person gonna be?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you get through like some of that stuff that's like hard initially. You're like, like I did all this hard stuff, and then you're like, this person's really shaping up, but you're like, but who are they?
But who are
you
they
know
really?
What I mean?
Like, because you don't know if you're raising the school shooter. You just don't fucking know.
I guess you don't.
You just don't know.
You don't. The signs. Are the signs really there?
As a toddler.
As a toddler.
Anything with a gun is cute.
Wow. Is it? Is that where we're going wrong?
If the toddler's doing like drills and shit in the backyard, like some real drills, oh, you probably got like
like some cowboys and Indians type of stuff.
we're just playing around. Yeah,
cowboys and Indians is not cool.
Guns and cops and robbers.
Cops and robbers.
It's, all these games sound horrific now in this day and age.
Yeah, sticking up people at gunpoint. What do toddlers need to be doing that anyways?
Right, exactly. So that's why I'm saying there's no signs at that age. So you don't see it until they're. You in the same house with these guys.
Right.
I know nothing.
Yeah.
Oblivious.
Whenever they like interview the people, like, you know, they go to someone's doorstep after their wife is end up kidnapped or whatever, and they're talking to the guy and they're just like, oh, like this could never, like, how could this happen? Like everybody just has these great stories about like who this person is and like no one would want to hurt them. And then you find out like they could have been a terrible person to somebody at one point. And everybody is just like, my daughter would never do this to her own child, and then you find out like she didn't.
Really been doing that shit for a long time.
The child is like, my child would never do X, Y, and Z, and then the child actually did like some crazy stuff.
Like for a long period of time too.
We don't be knowing who people are, yo. It's crazy. Even when you made them. Even if you made them.
To not know if you're raising a psychopath, killer, shooter, killer, and shit is crazy.
That was not on the docket.
I know it wasn't. That just made me think about that shit when you're
None of this was on
when
the
you're
docket,
having
guys.
a child. And just seeing how children are turning out, like you're just like, well, who am I? Am I gonna raise the next Martin Luther King or the next LeBron or the next fucking school shooter?
Right. You don't know. How can you really tell? How can you be sure?
I don't know. Don't have any kids. That's extreme. That's extreme.
That is a little extreme.
Anyway, what's on the docket?
I don't know.
You wrote stuff
I
down.
did. Oh, did you go to church as a kid?
I went to church a fucking lot. That sounds weird to say, but we went to church a lot.
Okay.
Like a lot. I know a ton of church songs. Like I know a lot. I've been to I don't know how many Bible studies.
Right.
Choir rehearsals, men's fellowship stuff, women's fellowship.
Right.
Because you can't go. It's you. And she had to go to her thing, so you had to just go with them. So you're going to both fellowships.
Just making your rounds at church.
Just making around the church.
All throughout the week.
All throughout the week and shit.
Just.
I used to really feel a way about going to church on Sunday. I was rebelling against that super early.
Did church go for a long time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Many hours. All day. Like 4 or 5. 4. Oof. Yeah. I like a good 2-hour max.
11 to 2. Like a shift.
Ugh. Yeah.
And then if there's church, like there's a second service, your pastor has to go preach at another church. You got to go. Right. Go support. That shit went on the other side.
Right. Next shift. 4 hours.
I can't. Shouting and shit all day. We're shouting for an hour and a half of just nonstop music and shouting.
We are in celebration.
Okay, as a child, I get it. As a child, it's just like you're either into it at an early age or you're just like totally zoning out. Like, when is this shit gonna be over?
Right. Can you have fun or not? Can you get into this?
It doesn't really fucking. If I can't have fun here.
I was traumatized. I couldn't get into it. But my church was special in that, like, we're in the South. It's Pentecostal. They're very dramatic. Very like.
Dramatic.
It's very exaggerated. Mm-hmm. Dance, singing, speaking in tongues. Like, it's very intense. And it adds to like the things being like real or, you know, something that you could believe in. You know, it's one thing to like just sing the songs, but like if you see somebody who like couldn't walk, start walking and being slain in the spirit and things like this, you're like, this Jesus stuff might be real. You know what I mean? Like it gets really deep out there.
Was walking from the wheelchair?
Listen, they was doing all kinds of stuff in this church. Yes. But people were being like healed and things like that. I'm telling you, it was like a Texas South thing. I don't know, guys. I didn't see that shit when I came to California.
Yeah, like it wasn't like the stuff that we seen. We were Christian Baptists. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of shouting. There's a lot of laying of the hands. Niggas was falling out. As a child, you're just like Pastor Warline. It's crazy, right? Because he's laying people out with his hands on their forehead. Crazy. Don't ever touch me. I'm never going to altar call. I'm never.
It was that scary.
It was that scary.
See, and other people are like, ooh, I hope he touches me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so different how people get to perceive the power. You know what I mean?
I don't know what was knocking people out. I don't know what was, are they people passing out?
I mean, I don't understand it. I was someone who witnessed things and I could not feel what people were experiencing. Like, I would consider myself to be someone who is pretty good at feeling what other people are experiencing. But in those situations, I'd be like, what's going on here?
Something I cannot, I still can't explain it. I've seen I seen him lay hands on people. Drop him. I seen him lay hands on the guy and the guy flew back.
Oh, wow.
A couple of feet.
Wow.
His head back on the wall.
That's amazing.
Slumped down.
Wow.
I seen it. I cannot explain it. He didn't push him.
Right.
He didn't do anything. He just put his hands on his head and then removed his hand. No force, none of that stuff. And he just
hit
the wall.
I mean, I don't deny that it's not real or that they're not feeling something or that they're not in a literal neurological space where they are experiencing something. Like, I don't disregard that. Right. I'm just saying I didn't connect with it.
Me either. I didn't. When you see it as a child, you can't explain this shit. You don't know what you're seeing, and you're kind of afraid.
It is a little scary.
It's scary.
It's a little scary.
Like, I don't, as an adult, I can't explain that. Like, he just put his hands on his head, and this nigga fell out. They put a cover over this nigga. And they just kept on going.
And this person was crying, or this person, couldn't walk right afterwards and was dizzy and disoriented. They had a visit with God. They had some kind of experience with an angel or something else had happened. I mean, of course, enlightenment, perhaps a healing of some sort that they're going to notice within the next couple. But by the time testimony comes on Wednesday, we're going to have a testimony on Wednesday.
That was the thing at Bible study, the pastor would just ask somebody just to get up. I just randomly just get up and just get their shit off.
Right, somebody.
Somebody would just get up and just tell everybody, all the great things that God did for them and stuff like that. And it usually was an old person. And that was, I always find that endearing. My great-grandmother used to do that.
I mean, it's important.
It's super important. If you didn't witness that, you was robbed as a child.
Man.
Just
a praise report.
A praise report, yeah.
A praise report will put you in a whole nother.
Yeah, good old-fashioned praise report.
Man.
Just to morale spirits up. So
church was cool, and church had its moments, and there's some beautiful things I think that church can offer, but you gotta.
Didn't really. The curl quite didn't.
You gotta. Yeah, it's gotta really hit for you. Like, it didn't really
never
work.
really resonated.
Yeah.
I actively rebelled against it. Like, try to pretend like I was asleep. So I had to get dressed.
Oh, before church. You wouldn't even fall asleep in church. This was before church.
I'm protesting early.
I mean, church was fun. Church was a social element. I was going to see my friends. We were going to go to Bible study. And as a kid, it was fun. And you played games. And again, you were there with your friends. You were dressing up. That was another fun thing that I wanted to do as a girl. I was like, ooh, I get to wear my pretty shoes and socks. Because I wore pretty socks with little fringes, and your hair was done, and you're probably going to have lunch afterwards. And I mean, it was kind of a celebration, but yeah, it was more of a social thing. And
I didn't want to be there at all. Especially when we moved to Riverside, I didn't.
It wasn't even black churches no more. It was Riverside churches, or it was still the same?
It was still black. It was still the same shit. Same politics too.
And then the politics. Don't get me started on the politics. Chris, do we want to go into politics?
I don't want to go into politics. I don't want to say nothing to get people say some shit, because I know some shit. I seen some shit. Especially, I seen what, you know what? We're going to talk about it.
The church?
But some of y'all was fucking. Y'all niggas was fucking. A bunch of y'all niggas was fucking. I'm just going to say that.
The church is definitely an opportunity for mating rituals to occur, is what I call them. When we are dressed up, when we are on one mind frame, when there's music, when there is a chant or some form of ritual going to be performed. Sir, this is what I'm saying about going to church, is needing to really be aware of what's going on, what you're really participating in. Really be aware of what you're really, really participating in. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
I can see how it could be a breeding ground for mating. and just,
I mean, we're vulnerable. We share a lot of the same values. Like, there's a lot of things where, like, if we are attending a church, like, this could be an opportunity for a good love connection to be made when we're dealing with people who are genuine with their connection to themselves and their God and those belief systems. But when we're there to just be
right, you would like to
socializing,
you want the element of coercion out of it.
Right. Yes.
Is there any element where coercion does not exist?
Well, it's where are pure hearts? Where do the pure hearts exist, Chris?
I don't know.
See?
My thing is, I think that everyone is just evil.
Tell me more about your view.
Not that everybody is evil. It's just that we never take into consideration that we are capable of. We always try to put our best foot forward and stuff like that, even though we tend to only show, like, people show more hate than love. People will always show you the worst before they show you the best and stuff like that. So I always have an element of weird with people.
That's why you got to be the change you wish to see in the world. And you have to be the one who, like, overly demonstrates cool, loving things. So
I
that
do.
People...
That's why I have 3 friends and shit.
Yes, of course. Of course. And you do demonstrate very well. But I'm just saying that's what has to be done.
Niggas who like to question his reality a lot. Like, motherfucker like to have you in the trick box. Like, just let me make sense of things. Please.
Before he just called everybody evil.
Right.
Just sums it up as that. Yeah.
The contradictions and the hypocrisies that we can't get away from.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's hypocrites.
We're all hypocrites.
We're all fucking hypocrites. Just be aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, church is bad. I'm just kidding. It's not. It's not. It does have church is not bad. It's great for whatever you get out of it. I wouldn't say take the Bible literal. It's not for that. It's too many plot holes to take it literal. Mm-hmm. But I will say it has had a chokehold on the black community. Yeah, I will say that. I'm conflicted because this is a religion I grew up with, but then you realize it was given to you by slave masters. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, oof, that's tough.
And then when you accept it in a literal way and you rationalize things in a really surface way, instead of digging a little bit deeper, you'll find that the meanings can get very different. And that's why having the pastor who can really
disseminate things.
Yeah, disseminate things. Thank you. What a great word. Mm-hmm. Like it's so imperative. And, if the pastor is worried about their church being like a place that, I don't know, you might not always be on the right path, guys. Just be aligned, everybody. Shit. Don't know what to say.
I know. It's just,
gosh, it's so tricky.
It's tricky. It's tricky.
But yeah, the black community has had many chokeholds, and religion is definitely one of them. And I always say that we cannot get on one accord.
A lot of our hate comes from religion.
A lot of hate?
A lot of our hate comes from religion.
Tell me more.
Especially when it comes to LGBTQ.
Okay. I could see how...
Is that from a biblical sense?
Being super conservative can be construed as being hateful because it's so restricting on so many people that a society breeds or has decided is correct, proper, acceptable. And yes, if we have a Bible who tells us that certain people within our own community are bad or should be cast out or whatever,
And you've been hearing that for 200 years?
Mm-hmm. It can be really hard to accept new ideas.
Yeah. You want the people with the open mind is fine. You got to get the other people, which you probably never will reach, to open their minds up to stuff like that, to look past their religion.
Is it important to get them on the page, or do we leave them?
Well, the fight will always be with them because they will always be the majority.
Okay.
The people with the loudest voices will always be heard, and the ignorant
usually have the loudest voice. You right?
For the most part. Because if the rational people are not going to yell.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to be, hey, you guys just...
But is that their job? And it's our job to just recognize it?
It depends on what we're trying, what's the objective? What type of change do we want? We want everybody to feel this way, or are we just going to just allow people to feel however they want, and then the group that feels the way we feel, we just going to go on our own? And we just leave them behind?
I don't know.
Exactly. I don't know either. Because you can't save everyone, but as a black person, you want to save everyone. You should you should have the same. You should have that mentality, but knowing that you can't.
As a black person, or just as a human, or why is it as a black person? I'm sorry.
I'm just talking about black people.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But you should. But to broaden it, you should have that type of mentality for your fellow man, regardless of his race or creed or sex, which I guess and gender, which I guess are different now.
Oh my, gender and sex. Here we go. Which is a total situation in the church.
Yeah, that's why I got don't play that shit.
Total situation in the church.
The ultra conservative.
Right. Like, look, we were trying to accept gay people, but now you guys are taking it a little too far with this trans stuff.
Yeah, you're taking it super too far. Like, I can't catch up. Like, the Bible don't say anything about this. I'm like, nigga, the Bible was, you know what? You can stop.
If y'all are just going to rely on the Bible the whole time, this is not going to work.
There's a lot of things. The Bible didn't say anything about space travel, nigga, but
y'all are all about that.
But you're all about that shit. So tell me about that. Tell me about something like that.
Hypocrisy. There's a lot of conspiracy theories around the space situation, and like just dating back to like ancient times and other people like around aliens and populations of people who live on planets already and things like that. It's very interesting stuff. I haven't fallen into like the rabbit hole just yet. I've just scraped the surface, but there's just some really interesting ideas, and we have so much money that goes towards space discovery and research and all of this stuff, and there's just so much. I can't wrap my head around it.
Okay, when I was in college, I took a class like a biology. It was some type of fucking science class. But anyway, we were talking about planets and shit. We seen some video and we read some shit in the books how the motherfucking planet was formed by just random shit forming and colliding with one another in space that formed, the Earth as it is.
All the galaxies or the universe or just the Earth?
I'm just talking about Earth.
Got it.
Yeah, but most planets are created this way by just shit
colliding,
coming together and shit like that, forming their own atmospheres and shit like that. That's what I read.
Okay.
If I accept the premise in the Bible how the world was created, and I think it's crazy, what do you think I'm going to do with that?
They both sound pretty far off.
They both sound crazy really as shit. Far off.
Right. Like, please make it make sense.
Make it make sense. I mean, what gases, my nigga? Like, what can this shit just break apart at any time? That's what I was thinking the entire time in class. Can this shit just fall apart at any second, and we just gonna be fucked up? No more internet.
There was another theory of like two Earths or something, like these two different dimensions essentially like coming in, and it's gonna happen like right now, and only certain people are gonna be able to like acknowledge this shift. And the word shift has been like super duper around me lately, but yeah, apparently the world is in two dimensions, or I mean, we have already a couple dimensions, but there's a separation. There's literally supposed to be like two physical Earths, and like somehow we're both existing on both of them at the same time, and only certain people understand the existence. It's very complicated. I haven't scratched the surface.